using your brain's electrical system as a receiver. We are unable to transmit through conscious neural interference. You are receiving this broadcast as a dream. We are transmitting from the year 1999. You are receiving this broadcast in order to alter the events you are seeing. Our technology has now developed a transmitter strong enough to reach your conscious state of awareness. But this is not a dream. You are seeing what is actually occurring for the purpose of causality violation. This broadcast will be received by the perceptual centers as a dream. But this is not a dream.
I'm getting ready to read Nightmare at the Dirt Track, Part 4 through 6. I started reading this story last week. I read parts 1 through 3. And I'll finish it off tonight. This is Nightmare at the Dirt Track, Part 4 through 6, by E.T. Brother and Ben Hill. I turned and began to make my way further into the cave. Snarls and growls followed me. They echoed off the wall, but fortunately, that was all that followed me. The demon dog couldn't make it into the cave itself. I continued walking. It was dark, but not quite as dark as it had been outside. There was some light in the cave, a dim glow. After walking for several minutes, I realized the light was brightening. I could see everything much better. The light seemed to have a blue glow to it. It sort of reminded me of a black light. I kept going further into the cave. Within about 5 minutes, I could no longer hear the dog, but I could hear a new noise. It was a loud clank. It got louder as the light brightened ahead of me. I stopped walking, listened to the clank, but couldn't figure out what was making that kind of noise. I also couldn't figure out where that glow was coming from. Both the noise and the glow seemed to be coming from the same place, somewhere up ahead. I didn't much care for the noise. It was unsettling. It seemed like bad news. I couldn't put my finger on why it felt that way to me, but it was so. I thought about going back the way I had come, but I had no interest in meeting up with that three-headed giant demon dog again. I had no clue what was up ahead, but I was certain it couldn't be as bad as the dog. Of course, I was wrong in my thinking, but who could know such a thing? You have to cut me some slack. Being in Nevermore is no walk in the park. It is very nerve-wracking, to say the least. After a few moments, I started walking again. The noise kept getting louder. It sounded like metal on metal. But there were also machinery noises. The glow kept getting brighter. Within a few moments, I got to a place where the cave widened out into a small cavern. I stopped walking, looked to both sides, but didn't see anything. I looked to the front again. The noise and source of the light was coming from up ahead. The cavern seemed to open up more, just a little ways ahead. I began to walk again. The cavern continued to widen out, and within a few moments, it really opened up. I stopped walking, looked around. The cavern was massive. I could see the walls on either side, but just barely. The glow filled the cavern with light. The clanking noise was much louder. But now that I was in the cavern, I also heard other noises. I heard machinery, but I also heard fainter sounds, creaking noises. At first, I couldn't put my finger on what the creaking noise was. It was a sound I knew. I just couldn't identify it. After a moment, though, it came to me what that noise was. It was the sound that a rope makes. when it is swinging back and forth through the air, with something heavy attached to the end, like a dead body perhaps. It is the sound that you hear when someone has been hung. The noise was coming from above me. I looked up. I didn't want to, though, because I was worried what I would see. I hollered out in surprise. There were thousands of human bodies swinging from the cavern ceiling. After a moment, I realized that the metal-on-metal noise had stopped. The machinery noise was still there, but the clanking had stopped. I began to get a bad feeling. I believed something had heard me holler out, and that is why the clanking noise had stopped. I began to look all around the cavern, looking for movement, but I saw nothing. Nothing at all, except all those swinging bodies. Now that I had seen them, I couldn't unsee them. They were hanging from the ceiling, all over the cavern. There had to be thousands and thousands of bodies. I began to make my way through the cavern. I didn't want to be hanging from the ceiling myself, so I tried to be silent. For the most part, I succeeded, but I kept having the feeling that I was being watched. I kept looking all around, but I never saw anything. I couldn't shake the feeling, though. It persisted and got worse. The only thing that I could see that was watching me were all those swinging bodies. But they were beyond seeing anything. I finally began to shake the feeling that I was being watched, and I relaxed. It was nerve-wracking being in a cavern with all those hanging dead bodies, but I tried to put it out of my mind, and I kept making my way through the cavern. Just after I forced myself to calm down, I heard a noise that sent a cold chill through me and damn near made me fill my shorts. The noise was actually a whisper, but the whisper was crystal clear. "Fresh meat," a voice whispered. I looked all around, didn't see a thing. The whisper came again. It was closely followed by another, then another, and another. Whispers began to fill the cavern. It sounded like thousands whispering, and they were all saying the same thing. "Fresh meat,